building a business, and to support the vision of being self-employed. In order to keep the focus on our program, we ask that you not read from or mention outside literature in your share. Our speaker, Betty, has come to share her experience, strength, and hope with us in the specific area of the BDA toolkit and the 12 steps of DA. Welcome, Betty.
Hi, I'm Betty.
Hi, Betty.
Debtor, business owner, and I need a deep breath with you guys before I start. So, ready? Thank you for being here. I see so many people I care about in here and who've helped me. And I'll just get this off the bat. These holidays sucked for me. So I am emo girl. And I was telling Wally on the way in that when he asked me to come and share, that he saved me. Because this is a fatal disease. I don't mean to scare you, Harley, but you're brave. You're brave to show up, and we're all brave to show up. And there are different ways to do this. And there were thoughts this weekend of like, I don't really care anymore. And then I get this call from Wally, and he's like, really? Tomorrow? Okay. You know, I was already terrified because Dirk asked me to share on the 4th of January. But at least now there's only a third of us here. So this program has saved my life. I've been here 10 or 11 years because I still am bad with numbers. I was raised in a family of entitlement, entertainment business. I almost broke down in tears signing the release because I didn't want to, because I don't want them to hear this ever. And yet I desperately want them to hear all of this. So, but in hopes that it'll help somebody else, I agreed to be more public about it. There's a lot of waste of money in my family, a lot of showy stuff, a lot of like look good on the outside, and alcoholism and drug dealing and drug abuse and white male privilege and all that stuff on the inside. You can't hear me. I'm sorry.
Just speak into it.
Okay. Anyway, it was a mess, but we looked really good. But it was a mess. And so because I grew up in that era, I modeled the male behavior. So I was very much a workaholic. That was the only reason you could skip a family event was work, and it was almost like you were ordained if you could. It was, oh, they're working. Oh, fabulous. So I did that a lot. I worked and worked and worked till I was like 40 and almost fell apart. And didn't have any money to show for it either. So, what else? I don't like talking about the past because today is so different. Yeah, so I modeled all that, and then finally I was in entertainment myself and was in this meeting, a record release party for somebody, and I remember leaning over to their manager and going, you know, if her record takes off, my life doesn't change one little bit. I'm like, oh God, that is not the right thing to say. And it was time for me to leave that business. And so I did. And I saved money, and I bought myself a year to change my life. And I did. And that was 20 years ago. My debt showed up in credit card debt, like $30,000 thresholds. And what I realized from working the steps and talking to you is that my debt was all about self-care and maintenance. Thanks, Mindy. Self-care and maintenance, because I didn't have health insurance. I didn't plan for when my car would break down, or need new tires, or go on vacation. It was always a working vacation for me. So I would just charge it. So I paid that off a couple of times, and right now I'm in the process of paying off the last one with my ex-husband, and we'll be done in about a year. And I have not used credit cards for 10 years. I just don't use them anymore. And I have enough money for when emergencies happen, like last 2 weeks. My dog was sick, and it was like, really, this is going to be $1,500? I have it. Let's take care of him. So, all right. I made notes because I get emotional and then I can't tell you anything. I was raised in this program through the Big Book. My sponsor was like a triple winner, and she took me through the Big Book, and I'm really glad she did. And when I got to the beginning of making my amends, or it was step 6 or 7, she kicked me back to steps 1 and 2, 3, and I was really pissed. But she was right, because I didn't have the spiritual foundation that I needed to make the amends I was going to have to make and to lead the life that I wanted. And I've always wanted a spiritual life. I've always craved it. I've always sought sacred spaces and beauty and all of that. And you guys understand that and go, yeah, we want that. My family goes, what is wrong with you? Huh. So I went for it anyway. I'm on step 9 now, and I'm terrified because I'm about to have to make some financial amends. But I also know that I won't do them alone, because doing that stuff alone is dangerous and scary. And there's too many of you that have helped me. I mean, if I look out here, I have a grief buddy. I have a divorce buddy. I'm divorced, by the way. And I have action buddies in here, and sponsees in here, and friends from other programs. It's just, we have to build our families where the love is. And so I'm really grateful that this room and the Brentwood room have helped me so much. I found DA when I lived in Lomita in the South Bay, and the meetings weren't that strong. So for 6 years, I drove to Brentwood every friggin' Saturday morning. And it was worth it. And I still have friends from those meetings. What else did I want to tell you? So, this is going to sound silly, but open your mail. I'll tell you a little story. If you can't open your mail by yourself, get somebody else to do it. When I was leaving my marriage, I wound up living with my mom for a little while, and she broke her hip, and it was just a crazy time. And during that time, I got a letter from AAA that said, "Oh, you're not living in your house anymore. It's not your primary residence, so we can't insure you anymore." And it was like, and so I had this pile on my desk. I'm like, I got to get new insurance, right? So I finally did. Found insurance. Was talking to the woman over a week, and then that morning I said, okay, so I don't have any. I know from you guys that I have to have paper and I have to have it signed. And so I said, I don't have any paper, I don't have an email, I don't have anything, but God forbid something happens to my house today, I'm covered, right? She's like, yeah, I just pressed, good, you're covered. Literally 5 hours later, I was at work in Long Beach, and I got a call that my tenants had burned my house down. So open your mail. It's a total God shot, total miracle, because I would have been beholden to my husband, to my friend who helped us buy it, to the city, to the tenants, to everybody. But instead, I paid $626 and had my house rebuilt at the tune of $326,000. So, and the reason I still have that house is because somebody in the Brentwood meeting told me that I've seen more wealth in assets as in goods and services. So try and hold on to that house. Thank you. And that house also had a history of being flooded and like 3 times, and we lost all our savings, and it wasn't our fault. It was the city's infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. But I kept fighting, and 6 times I refinanced that house, and the paperwork came in like 3 days before they were going to foreclose. So don't do it alone, but do it. Show up for yourself and what's important. So in the last bit that we have to talk about, I will tell you all the good things. For the past 10 years, I have had 3 clients who we love and respect each other and pay my rate. One of them, I wasn't sure I was going to take that job, and somebody in these rooms said, because I was negotiating, I'm like, they're not giving me these things. She goes, do you want to be right, or do you want to be earning? I was like, oh yeah, I want to be earning. And the next year they gave me all those things. But that job has been fantastic. I'm a part-timer, and they still give me benefits and sick time and paid vacation, and I've never had any of that. And I wouldn't have it if I wasn't in these rooms. And they're also now paying me some paid family leave so I can help take care of my mom, which is another miracle. I've been self-supporting. I told you I could take care of my dog. My company is growing. I own my own company. It's work I love. I'm also investing in a certificate program that I'm paying for myself as, an investment in myself, which is, not something most of us do when we have done when we walk in here, I should say. And that will help me start to earn more as soon as March. I checked it. They have a marketing program in the certificate program. They're already helping me figure out ways to earn that way. I've been able to take vacations where I wasn't working, with friends. And what else? Oh, all my notes are done. I told you everything. Except one story where I started with the fatal disease thing. So some of you have heard this, and some of you have asked me to tell this from here, which is that if anybody's been at I think it's the 4th floor family court on Hill Street, downtown, yeah, it's grim. And I couldn't afford a lawyer when I got divorced, and so I had to wait in those long lines with other miserable people trying to improve their lives, and it's that green fluorescent color, and it's just, it really needs some help. And yet there are angels that work there. The lawyers in the back there were so kind to me and so clear. And there was one day after applying for some of the paperwork, I walked out of there, and I was going to go to work downtown on Skid Row afterwards. I was like, I need a break. I'm like, there's got to be a place where people go to cry besides the bathroom, or go to replenish. And so sure enough, on the top floor up there, there's a gorgeous view of Disney Hall, and it's not all fenced in or anything like that. And so I was just walking around there, and it was one of those times where I'm like, you could jump from here, And I was just walking around admiring the view, not wanting to jump, admiring the view, going, this is going to get better. I do have a God in my life. So much to live for. But I was really scared. And they have these metal shelves there where people have scratched their names in and stuff. And so I looked down, I took a breath, I looked down, and it says, Betty was here. Right? There's not that many of us. It's not like John was here. It's so look for those times in your life and hold on to them. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that the fellowship in here is really strong, but it shifts and it changes. There are people I used to talk to every day for 6 years that I don't talk to every day, but they're still around. We're still all around for each other. It shifts, And I wasn't used to that. But I'm grateful for it. And I really hope that... 1 minute. I really hope that there's something I've been able to say today, despite my emo girl cracking voice, that will give you hope and help you reach out and give back. I tell my sponsees, you call for you, I pick up for me. So again, the breath is how I connect with my higher power. So if we could just use the last few seconds to make this sacred place even more sacred, that's what I want to do. And thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Betty. That was amazing. I will now turn the meeting over to our treasurer for the collection of the seventh tradition.
Good morning.